What's going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading Investing. You're looking here at the S&P 500. We're going to be taking a look at some important technical levels. We're going to figure out what happened today, and we're going to take a look at how we can position ourselves to the upcoming sessions. Before we begin here, let me check in with all of you. I really sincerely hope that the analysis that I share really goes a long way in helping your own. Whether or not you're using this as a tool to see whether or not you share the same insight, or if it's showing a contrary view to you, or if it's just helping give a plan that you can follow, protecting you from chasing after things that you shouldn't be. Whatever the case may be, I know it helps my trading. I know from the comments left it helps others. If you're looking to go ahead and watch a video and then trying to take things out of context and be like, I got you, you have no place here for real. Now, if you go back to Saturday's video, I was absolutely, definitely bearish in that video. I thought that we were going to open up weak, and I laid out a plan for the bearish side of when we would be looking to go ahead and take sells. But at the same time, in that same video, I also laid out the bullish case and was very clear in that video that if we broke this resistance right here at 28.89, that I would be a strong buyer had the opportunity present itself. You could go back to watch the video if you want. It was very clear. And if you're going to come in and you're going to leave comments contrary to what was said, then there's no place for you here. It's that plain and simple. That's not cool. All right. We're looking to build an environment here of people that have integrity, of people that are here to learn, people looking to share insight, right? If you're going to go ahead and you're going to twist things around, or when something in that video, it was very clearly shared above 28.89 that we are super bullish and buyers all the way into the resistance at 29.72. Let's look at how that developed right now, as there was no opportunity to sell. On the opening, we kept rising until we came above the resistance here at 28.89. Now, this happened while I was sleeping. There was no way for me to get into this trade. I do want to review it with you, though. You could see this was our resistance at 28.89. Once we broke above it, we came back down and tested it, right? And then zoom in over here, you could see this is the entry as we start making higher highs. That is our conquering the markets textbook entry. That's what we're looking for. This was the level that we were looking to become buyers above. Now, I know that plenty of you did take it, the ones who did comment. Now we're coming up here, and we said that 29.72, that would be, now of course I did not expect that we would be trading up here today, right? That's not the point. The point is we were looking at 29.72 as our resistance. That's what we've come into, right? That strong resistance. What happens now? What happens now? That's what I'm concerned with. We already talked this through in the live stream this morning. Because I was not involved in this trade, right? And if I were, we talked about how to manage that trade, how to protect yourself. We talked about having a stop loss down over here, right? As we got off the live stream. Look over here, we came all the way to the full take profit area. Now, I'm not in that trade. I said I was not going to take a trade the rest of the session. I wanted to wait to see how things further developed, to give myself to look for an opportunity to get in. It has to be clear. Otherwise, I don't want any part of it, okay? Now, what happens now that we're up to this resistance at 29.72? First of all, why did this happen, right? Why did this happen?
Simply flooded the system with money.
Yes, we did. That's another way to think about it. We did.
Where does it come from? Do you just print it?
We print it digitally. So we as a central bank, we have the ability to create money digitally. And we do that by buying treasury bills or bonds or other government guaranteed securities, and that actually increases the money supply. We also print actual currency, and we distribute that through the Federal Reserve banks.
Well, it all started last night with Powell on 60 Minutes basically saying that the Fed, which does print money, but he said that we print it digitally. He was very affirmative that the Fed will be there and do whatever it takes. He did say that they see a possible drag on the economy, no recovery to the end of 2021. He did say that's dependent on us having a vaccine. He did say that any further lockdowns would help break confidence, and that would be a drag on the economy. But then after Powell came in, giving the futures this positive tone, we had some really good news this morning about a possible vaccine, a successful trials that as early as July could be completing its third trial stages. It was really good news. The market really took it uber bullishly. And here we are on a huge risk on day, taking the markets all the way towards the strong support at 29.72. Let's step back a second. Let's look at that. Let me step back with you and look at what's going on over here. All right. By the way, you can see this trend line over here. I added this in from a friend in our training program, John, who suggested in the chat group this morning about this trend line, how it was coming off of these touches down here, came off of the resistance over here, and then here again. Look back down with me, drop down, come down to the 30-minute time frame. You could see that this provided resistance. It then traded above it, confirmed this trend line resistance as support, and that's where we traded up to. And then we traded later in the day actually up into this resistance, this light resistance I had at 29.47, right? It then confirmed that as support, traded up into the strong resistance at 29.72, is not back down, testing that resistance flipped into support at 29.47, 29.48. This is all very important. We're going to look at that in 1 minute because this is going to give us a little bit of a game plan going forward. Before we do, we need a little bit of a bigger perspective. Let's come back down to the 4 hour. All right. I want you to give you this bird's eye perspective of what we're looking at over here. You could see the strong resistance at 29.72. So far, we've been rejected this morning by that. This afternoon by that. That's okay. That's to be expected. We've had actually an enormous buy-side day today. Extraordinarily bullish, taking us once we were over 29.89. That was our key to look for the buy entry, right? Now we're up to the resistance. What do we do? Well, step back with me one more time. Take out this level. Take out this heavy resistance at 29.72. I think at that point, you need to continue to be uber bullish, looking for a buy side entry above that resistance, flip it into support, and look for the resumption, because we have a nice bit of room over here till we get to the next bit of resistance at 30.96. It's a beautiful trade. There could be more extension, more follow through. We want to be aware of it. We want to be looking for that. That is where our bias is. Now we're into resistance. We've so far in the last hour of trading been rejected off of that resistance. We have to be aware of that. But how much further did you expect this daily move to go, right? That doesn't mean that we're not going to consolidate over here and or take out that resistance. If we do take out that resistance overnight and into tomorrow and flip that as support, that's an area that I am absolutely looking to buy. That is clear for me. That is very clear. I'm looking for clarity, okay? Now, am I going to go ahead and fade off this resistance right now? Absolutely not. There is way too much buy-side momentum here for me to stand in front of. There's no need to be a hero. That's a low probability trade. That makes no sense. There's no way that I'm looking to do that. What happens, this trend line we were looking at, you could see here how it was resistance. Here how once we traded above it, we flipped it into support, right? That's a relevant level. What happens if we come down into this level over here? Is there any other horizontal support that we could add to use that as something to key off of? You know what? Right around this level, right around this trend line, I don't think so. I'm trying to look with you. I'm looking here at 29, 21, possibly something light, nothing I want to add into my chart. If we come back down overnight and we test this trend line, which should be support, and then trade off it, is that an entry that I'm interested coming back up into this area of resistance? No, I'm not, okay? What I'm doing right now is I'm working out my plan for the session ahead. And to do that, I have to go through different possibilities. It doesn't mean that all those possibilities are ones that I would like to take. If we trade above this resistance, test it as support and resume off of it, yeah, I like that risk to reward a lot. That's definitely a trade that I want to take, right? That's top on my list. What else? What happens if we break through this support, right? I don't want to trade off this support. I prefer to wait, be neutral here, wait for something better to develop. I'd rather be looking at this pre-market tomorrow as U.S. equities open tomorrow and have a better plan of attack. What happens if we break through here, though? If we break down over here and we test this and it's confirmed again as resistance, what about then? Well, that's a nice trade coming back down into this support at 28.89. That strong support. Are we going to come back and test that anytime soon? I don't know. That's not a given. If we come back down and test the 29.89 support, am I a buyer? I don't know. It really depends on how quickly we come down and test that. These are some important questions. I have some more important questions to share with you. I'll share with you those in a minute. First, I want to work out where our plan is, right? If we do break down below this trend line, which should now be support though, and confirm that and it holds as resistance from here to here, that's something to consider. That's something very much to consider. What else? If we come down fast and hard into here, there's no way that I will look at the 28.89 as support to buy off of. I will wait. The only thing that looks very clear to me is a break above here. A break above there, test that into support, resume upwards. That's something I like. We got a lot of upside potential. Risk reward is very good. At the same time, a break below, if this does not hold as support, this trend line, and it is then tested and confirmed as resistance once again, because of how long this trend line is, if we, within 24 hours of breaking it, go back and test the other side, that's something that I'm interested in. Now, I don't know if I'll take it, but I'm interested in it. Depends on the timing. It's always about timing. What else is there? Well, that's it. That's it overnight. Those are the two areas that I'm looking at and or concerned with. Right now, I could see over here that we tested above. Look at this light line, 29.47, this now support. It's a very light line. I showed on the live stream why it's there. It's connecting a couple important points, but it's light. So I'm not looking to buy off of that support, all right? Although that we did break above it, we tested it, that resistance became support. We were rejected by the heavy resistance at 29.72 so far, right? We came back down into the support. This is nothing for me. This is only for me to watch, wait for some consolidation, wait for a clearer picture to get in. If we break above here, yes, I definitely want to be looking to the long side. Look at this. Let me come back to the 4 hour with you. There's a nice potential move in here. There's a nice potential move up into the resistance at 30.96. Definitely want to take a look at this if we're able to break above that resistance. Now I have a plan for the session ahead. Now I have a plan. I'm only going to take it with what's in front of me, right? I'm only looking at what I could see. It's impossible to predict the future. If you are just tied to the bearish case because things do not, and this is a really important question. Is it possible when I understand the state of the economy and how it's completely deteriorating that it's possible that the Fed is able to take this thing even higher? Is it possible that they take it to all-time highs? Listen, in the next few days, the S&P index is going to be rebalanced, meaning those companies that make up the index that are not performing are going to be taken out of it. They're going to reweight it, right? Is that going to help the index going forward? It should. That's not a given. That's not a tradable event. I'm more interested in watching how price initially reacts off of that and then going forward. That's not a tradable event, but that could help sustain the rise of the S&P. Now, Powell, who set this whole risk on in motion, followed by the positive vaccine trial news. Now, Powell is basically saying the Fed is going to do everything it can. At the same time, he's also saying, hey, listen, this is not a given. This is not a given at all. This is dependent on there actually being a vaccine that works. It's also dependent on there are no further lockdowns, as that will help deteriorate confidence. Today in China, 108 million people went into lockdown as they had a resurgence of the virus. This is as Europe and the United States begin opening up, be aware. Be aware. You don't need to go ahead and jump in here and be like, the market's getting away from me. We live on our swing trading time frame, anywhere from 1 to 5 days out, right? We're able to get a really good feel for what's going on session to session. We are looking at both sides of the market and developing plans for both sides of the market. I want to be clear. Go ahead and rewatch Saturday's video. I was absolutely with a bearish bias, and at the same time gave this level as our plan for Monday. If we broke above 28.89, that I was buying, if possible, and bullish. All right? Same thing here. Yeah, I maintain a bullish bias after today's price action. I think that we're going to consolidate up around this area and look to take out the resistance at 29.72. That doesn't mean that's going to happen. If we break below this trend line, especially within the first 24 hours, at that point, there's a nice trade between the break of that trend line and into this support down over here at 28.89. That's as far as I know. Above it, I like it. Below this trend line, I'm going to take a stab at it. But I can't go any further than that. It's not possible for me to see into the future. I can only trade what's in front of me. Listen, everyone, if you enjoyed this session, please go ahead and support the channel. Smash that like button. I absolutely read all of the insights and comments shared. You know that because I keep up with you. I'm not always able to respond to all of them, but I try my best. I enjoy the conversation. Thank you for adding value. Thank you for adding value to this channel. I really appreciate the discussions that take place. I learn a lot from them. Everyone, have a beautiful day. I'll see you tomorrow for the live stream.